the Dean of Travel, Dean Jacobs, coming to you from Africa as I continue my exploration of some of the ancient sites of Ethiopia. Ethiopia today is one of the poorest countries in the world, but there was a time when it was one of the wealthiest. There was a time when the capital city of Gondar, with its high stone walls and castles, was as famous as New York or London today. A visit to Gondar is a walk back in time, filled with regal banquets and pageantry. I was so impressed with the castles that I returned 3 times to soak up the gallant past. First of all, we almost never think of 16th century castles when our minds picture Africa. Walking through the majestic castles, some as high as 105 feet, leaves no room for doubt that this is a special place. The most impressive is Emperor Fasilides' palace. Reconstruction continues on the royal enclosure with the financial support from UNESCO. I also spent some time in the peaceful compound of Fasilides' bath. The structure in the middle is thought to be one of the emperor's houses. It doesn't take much to imagine royalty splashing around in the water. And unfortunately, according to historians, conspiracy, assassinations, plotting, and chaos brought an end to the royal period, as infighting and rebellion from outer provinces perpetuated the fall of Gondar. On my way to catch my bus to leave Gondar, I encountered a cow that had a Pepsi craving. From here, I headed overland on roads carved out of the sides of mountains. I shared my bus with these chickens, who weren't faring so well for a 12-hour bus ride, and I have to admit, I kind of felt the way they looked. Now, I went even further back in time to the ancient Aksumite capital of Aksum, to a time that reaches back to 400 years before the time of Christ. During its heyday, between the 3rd and the 6th centuries, the empire stretched into southern Arabia and west into Sudan. They were the first civilization in the world to strike coins with the Christian cross. Not much remains of the ancient city today, except the impressive stela. Aksum is also the holiest city for the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. This in itself is a good reason to come here, but I have to admit, I had other reasons that are more related to my American movie culture than history. Legend has it that the sacred Ark of the Covenant rests in Aksum after it was stolen from King Solomon in Israel. The Ark of the Covenant is the most sacred artifact in Jewish history, the holy box that holds the 10 Commandments written by the hand of God. And it also happens to be the centerpiece in one of the Indiana Jones movies. So after securing my items in my hotel room, I first set off to find the solid granite stela, the impressive stones that are some of the few remains of the ancient kingdom 1,600 years ago. These grand billboards from ancient times are a testament to a craftsmanship that outlived a powerful kingdom. Standing next to the tallest stela that shoots 760 feet into the blue sky, I'm left with a sense of awe as to how such a stone was created and erected. A short walk from there, I take a brief look at the huge Queen of Sheba bath that is carved straight down into the red stone. No one knows for sure if she ever took a bath there, but it makes a good story, and is impressive just by the pure size of it. It is the end of the dry season, but you can easily see how deep the bath becomes when it fills up with rainwater. As locals fill water jugs for cooking and washing, someone says to me, "Be careful, these waters are cursed. Someone dies here every year." The bath also serves as a holy purpose. Once a year, the ark is taken from its resting place and dipped into the water, turning it into holy water before thousands of people jump in, or so says my self-appointed guide standing next to me. Now it was time to go find the location where the Ark is kept. So with the music of Indiana Jones circling through my head, I entered the compound, not before paying the 60 birr fee, or $6.50, of course. In the beginning, I'm taken by the guide through the 2 circular churches that I'm allowed to actually enter.
Shoes off.
Shoes off. It's a sacred place, so I'm asked to take my shoes off.
This is the oldest book in Ethiopia, more than 1,000 years old. And this is made of goat skin, leather animal skin.
I take a moment to pose with a painting of the saints who came before me, but I don't think I'll ever be able to pass myself off as a saint. The final stop on my tour, the church that houses the Ark. A line from the movie pops into my head. But Indy, the Ark isn't like anything you've ever gone after before. Only one living person is allowed to see the Ark. A monk who spends most of his time inside the church doing who knows. My guide says to me, "You are very lucky today. The only monk who is allowed to see the Ark is outside." I'm shown a few artifacts, old crowns from past kings that really should be in a proper museum. The old monk smiles at me and asks that I don't take his photo. So I stick my head through the black iron rod fence that separates us, and he blesses me on the head with the ancient Ethiopian cross he's holding. Close enough for me, I say to myself, a blessing by the monk who cares for the Ark. I quietly walk back home, weaving my way around camels, being pulled by young men, as the music from Indiana Jones replays one last time in my mind. Always curious about local markets. The next day I strolled through the animal market to see what I might find. $400 would allow me to take home a camel. Nah, I say to the seller, too much hassle for my backpack. You can also find firewood, and of course, the ever-working donkeys who end up bringing most things to town from the countryside. I made some more friends as I wandered around Axum. And after 4 days, I decided it was time to leave Axum. But I left with a smile on my face. The kind of smile that comes from the fulfillment of a dream, exploring the resting place of the Ark of the Covenant. I have one last ancient place to explore in Ethiopia. Tune in again as we walk through the ancient rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. This is Dean Jacobs, reminding you to check your compass, because you never know where you might go with the Dean of Travel. Dun, da, da, dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, da.